Hello again. So I'm still in the National Museum for Civil War Medicine in Frederick, Maryland, and we have a couple people enjoying the exhibits up here. So in order to not disturb them, I'm going to let you read the sign about Clara Barton, not read it aloud, and then we will hopefully see a couple other things on the way out and kind of wrap up. By the way, there's a National Historic Site there in Glen Echo. Dr. John Letterman, Army Medical Director. So you're going to have to screenshot these. This is in Washington, D.C. It's almost right next to the National Building Museum. You probably won't be able to screenshot this. But the only kind of the idea of actually preserving the office in Washington, D.C. only occurred to people about 13 years ago, as you can see, in 2012. So very glad that it did. I've still got a few minutes, guys, so I don't even know if you can screenshot these. Let's see. Lack of effective drugs. There were no effective drugs during the Civil War. These are myths. Of course, there were some drugs. They used morphine and opium quite a bit. Also, vaccination was still in its early days, and it wasn't used much during the Civil War. And not to confuse viruses and bacteria, okay, or i.e. vaccination and antibiotics, but there was at least one vaccination already being used by the time of the Civil War, and that, of course, was for the dreaded killer smallpox. But antibiotics had not come into play yet. Another myth: butcher surgeons and amputations. I've gone over that with you guys a bit already. Biting the bullet versus anesthesia. Amputations were done without anesthesia. Patients were given bullets to bite on. Another myth: they were given anesthesia, almost always in the form of chloroform. Let me see if I can take you downstairs real quick.
The first thing, my first thought when I walked into it was like walking into the sun. Four chairs and all that.
Great quilt there. Sorry guys, these never work out exactly how I want to. And I will link a couple older videos that I did here. I'm not that pleased with them. I'm a little emotional in them, and maybe a tiny bit soapboxy, but picture of an ambulance drill. Do keep in mind the ambulance system was not perfect. Many of you may know that the major complaint about the ambulances was the bumpy ride, and sometimes it is true. Now, this is true sometimes. The bumpy ride, if long enough and the wounds severe enough, may have made some situations worse. For some wounded soldiers, that probably was most often not the case, but sometimes it probably was. So a field surgeon's medicine kit. This place has been criticized for its abundant use of mannequins, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I think they enhance the experience, but there are plenty of signs and plenty of artifacts. As you can see, we've got typical items found in a hospital backpack. That was nice of somebody. She shut the door to block a little noise for me. That was nice. Probably hoping I got a lot of hits on this, which of course I do too. Probably won't happen, but I do too. Just more on the field hospitals here, guys. Please, if you missed it already, I don't know if this is part 1 or 2, but both of these will post pretty close together, so make sure you watch the other one. Ooh, here's a really cool and rare smashed mini ball. Ba-boom. So, like I said, there's some relics here, guys. This is on amputations. And I'm gonna get just a little bit emotional again. Maybe the surgeons during this war saved a lot of lives. Saved a lot of lives. What would you rather be, dead or missing a leg? For some people it might be a close call, but I would rather see my family again, see my wife, my loved ones again, my children again with no leg, than to never see them again at all. This goes over how they set bones. And here's a really good look at a surgeon's kit, amputation kit. I think I've covered most of what I wanted to cover. Oh, and see, here's the hospital railroad cars, which probably weren't too comfortable either, but they were a picture of, but they were certainly more comfortable than a long and bumpy ambulance ride. I'm gonna give you a real quick walkthrough, just a visual peek in this room. Ooh, there's a nice little kit there, pharmacopoeia. Okay, guys, that's about it. I think I covered most of what I wanted to cover. Hope you guys enjoyed the short tour, but of course you didn't see everything. You didn't read every sign. There's a lot more to know, and a lot more to learn. So do visit this place when in Central Maryland. Don't miss it. Frederick, Maryland. See you guys.